this weekend. Is he going to change his riding and his race style? I don't think so. That's not a Toprak is. But we could easily have an incident between those two riders because we've seen so much close action between them all the way through this season.
Would he change his approach if he only needed a 10th position in the last race of the season?
I think if it comes down to Sunday, he can change his approach, but it's going to be tough for Toprak to do that. He's very adamant. He wants to stick to his guns and win the championship the way that he's been riding all the way through this season. And I think it's going to be interesting to see how he approaches it, especially on Sunday.
To be perfectly honest, if we do get into a situation of Toprak Wsbk racing for race victories throughout this weekend, we wouldn't be surprised, and it would certainly not be something that would go against the grain, as it were. He's never pulled his punches throughout his World SBK career, and certainly not this season.
Yeah, and it's one of those situations where for Toprak, he knows how he's managed to get into this position, and he knows that on his days pretty much unbeatable, and I think he wants to make sure that this weekend he lays down a marker and shows that that's exactly what he's going to expect all the way through.
If anything, he's added an extra level to that since Assen in particular, a weekend where he was caught in the garage saying that's it, the championship's over. It was almost as if at that moment he said, well, from here on in nothing to lose, because the championship in his mind, well, okay, in the heat of the moment, looked like it was slipping away from him. Jonathan Rea, 3 wins in a row. Toprak, a massive margin of points to recover. Twice he's managed to recover points and get back into the lead of this World Championship, and it's a lead that at the moment he doesn't look like surrendering.
Yeah, I think it's one of those situations where Toprak will look at the points that have gone amiss for him from a bit of bad luck. Jonathan Rea will look at the points that have gone away from him, and more often than not for Jonathan, it's been because of his own mistakes. He's had to ride on the limit, and we saw in places like Most and Donington Park and Portimao, he got caught out by that, and those 30 points added up very quickly for him. And over the course of the year, the two riders have been very evenly matched. But you'd have to say, on the balance of how the season's gone, Toprak very much deserves to go into the championship decider with a pretty sizable advantage.
Those two retirements in Portimao in particular, and Locatelli all in their pit boxes as well. As far as the leaders are concerned, the only two out on the circuit at the moment, number 45, Scott Renning, currently
loses 0.4 of a second to Toprak in that final sector, and in that final sector, no one's gotten closer than 0.4 to Toprak, so that is where the Yamaha's working really well at this stage. Obviously, you expect it is no surprise that in a section of the track where you really need to brake on the angle, that the Yamaha's just got that bit of extra performance in some of the other bikes out there. So that is where the Yamaha's really strong. We've seen it so far around this track that in the middle sectors it has been a case of the Kawasaki's and the Ducatis having a little bit of an advantage, but that can all change now in the final 10 minutes of the session.
Yeah, so it's not sort of a Ducati problem in that last